There are days when Foxborough looks quiet on the outside, but underneath, the chessboard is on fire. What's surfacing right now hits the draft, Drake Maye's protection, and a massive defensive decision. And hold on to this, because by the end, I'm going to show you why these signs may be pointing to something bigger in New England. There's stuff here that looks like a detail, but it could shake an entire season. Would you go all in to win now, or hold your ammo for tomorrow? Subscribe, drop a like, and hit me in the comments, because today we've got a real Patriots Nation debate on our hands. This one lands like big news immediately because it hits a spot a lot of people still underestimate on defense: the future at safety. New England holds the 31st pick, has 11 picks in the 2026 draft, and in a projection published by Rob Rang, the Patriots are bold enough to jump up 6 spots in a trade with the Bears to grab Emmanuel McNeil-Warren. Now let's separate fact from smoke here. This is not a completed trade, and it's not official Patriots information. It's a projection, a possibility, a market read. But man, it's a read that lines up way too well with the reality of this roster. Kevin Byard is here, yes, but on a 1-year deal. Jalen Hawkins is gone. And behind Byard and Craig Woodson, there just isn't a safety net that makes anybody sleep easy thinking about next season. That's why this move matters right now. This wouldn't just be adding another athletic name to the secondary. This would be solving tomorrow's problem before it turns into a 5-alarm fire. If McNeil-Warren really has that size, range, and burst that reminds people of the new school safeties who can erase chaos in the blink of an eye, the Patriots could be planting the next cornerstone before panic ever enters the room. And here's the part I love. Moving up only 6 spots doesn't feel like some reckless, house-on-the-line gamble. There's a real chance they could do it without burning a second-rounder, maybe using third-round capital to unlock the deal. For a team loaded with ammo, that's not recklessness. That's strategy with teeth. But this is where the Patriots Nation split gets real. Is it smarter to spend resources on a future-defining safety right now, or stay put at 31 and attack another need that could also raise this team's ceiling? I want a straight-up vote in the comments. Move up for McNeil-Warren, or hold the line and keep the extra ammo, because both sides have a case. If Elliott Wolf gets aggressive and nails the target, New England could walk away with a defender who earns snaps fast and maybe owns the position by 2027. If he stays patient, the Patriots can plug other holes and keep feeding the roster with volume. I get both arguments, but honestly, when a team sees the right player and has the bullets to go get him, hesitation can cost you more than aggression ever will. And the wild part is, this may not even be the loudest swing taking shape in Foxborough right now. Not every move that sends a shockwave through the AFC starts with a press conference, a screaming headline, or a front office leak in all caps. Sometimes it starts as an idea, a trade concept, the kind of rumor that makes fans stop mid-scroll and go, wait a second, if that's actually on the table, this offense changes overnight. Because the point isn't just adding another name. The point is changing Drake Maye's entire ecosystem, changing how defenses line up against New England, and showing exactly how far this team is willing to push its window while the quarterback is still on a rookie deal. And that's where the Brian Thomas Jr. proposal comes crashing in. The projected framework would have the Patriots receiving the wide receiver plus the 166th pick in the 5th round, while the Jaguars would get pick 31, pick 95, and pick 131. Again, total discipline with the facts. This is not a completed deal, and it is not a report saying talks are actively happening. It is a published trade proposal, a very real hypothetical. But my goodness, it's the kind of hypothetical that lights up the entire Patriots fan base instantly. Thomas was a true vertical weapon as a rookie in Jacksonville, posted 18 catches of 20-plus yards, and still has 2 cheap years left on his rookie contract. In other words, this would be potential #1 receiver production without superstar money attached to it. And that matters now because New England is no longer in that slow, patient rebuild stage where every move only has to be about 2 or 3 years from now. This roster has already shown signs that it wants to fight at the top of the conference. Romeo Doubs helps, no doubt, but Brian Thomas Jr. would change the geometry of the offense. He would stretch the field, force safeties to respect the deep ball, and give Maye a target who can turn an ordinary snap into a lightning strike. So here's the scenario question. If you were the GM, would you pay that package for Thomas right now, or keep pick 31 and keep stacking cheap young talent? Because if the Patriots go for it, they could turbocharge their quarterback's development and push the offense into another stratosphere. If they keep the picks, they preserve volume and long-term depth. But a window in the AFC doesn't wait around and politely knock twice. And the next storyline lives right on that razor's edge between belief and need. Everybody looks at edge rusher and immediately thinks new blood, draft capital, fresh legs coming in to save the day. But sometimes the most important answer isn't outside the building at all. Sometimes it's already in the building, grinding in silence, rebuilding the body, trying to bring back the version this team missed more than people want to admit. That's why this Harold Landry III update carries more weight than it seems at first glance. A lot of people treated edge as an automatic must-fix for 2026. I get it, but the picture suddenly isn't that simple anymore. For a huge stretch of the 2025 season, the Patriots were lucky enough to avoid devastating injuries to their biggest stars, and that directly helped fuel the run to the Super Bowl. Landry was a different story. After the knee injury early in the season, his production dipped, and the ripple effect didn't stop with him. The whole defensive line lost some of its bite, some of its consistency, some of that feeling that a quarterback was standing on a trap door every third down. Even then, Landry still finished with 8.5 sacks, leading the team, and only missed 2 regular season games. Then came off-season surgery, and with it came the obvious question. Did New England now have to treat edge rusher as a top draft priority because the veteran might never look the same again? The latest update brings a very different kind of energy. Mike Reese of ESPN reported that Landry has been showing up at the facility every day over the past few weeks, and there's belief he'll take part in voluntary workouts starting April 20th, 2026. Mike Vrabel also made it clear he saw the difference between Landry before and after the injury and reinforced his confidence in the comeback. Now, does that guarantee he'll be fully explosive in September? No. Does it guarantee the problem is gone? No. But it absolutely changes the weight of the conversation. Because there's a huge difference between building a draft as if your top pass rusher is compromised and building one believing he can come roaring back in year 10. And that's where the real divide shows up. Does this fire you up? Or does it worry you? If Landry comes back fully loaded, the Patriots can attack the draft with way more flexibility, without drafting in fear at edge, and while strengthening other areas. If the recovery drags or the level doesn't return, the defense risks leaning way too hard on a player who already showed how much his absence can bend the whole front. Me, as a relentless Patriots defender, I see this as a meaningful sign. Nobody is grinding that hard this early in the offseason without serious hunger. But hunger alone doesn't bring quarterbacks down. Production does. And this franchise may be lining up another major bet, precisely to protect the guy who needs stability the most in 2026. If this happens at pick 31, a lot of people are going to complain immediately, because taking another offensive tackle right after investing heavily in Will Campbell is going to look repetitive on the surface. But I'll defend that idea all day long. Repeating a position is not repeating a mistake when the problem is still alive. Campbell can still absolutely become the left tackle of the future. I believe that. But the right side is still wrapped in uncertainty. Morgan Moses can hold it down in 2026, sure, but he's entering the season at 35 years old. That's not a long-term solution. That's a bridge. And a team that wants to keep Drake Maye upright cannot pretend a bridge is the same thing as a foundation. That's why Blake Miller makes sense. He comes out of Clemson with NFL size, high-end athletic traits, absurd durability, and real experience from a player who won a starting job as a freshman and never gave it back. 54 games, 54 starts, never vanished. That kind of track record matters a ton when you're talking offensive line, because talent without availability is a mirage. Miller also brings the kind of profile that fits development. Solid base, body control, blitz recognition, and steady effort. He's not a finished product, and that's the key point. His technique still runs hot and cold. Sometimes he plays too high. Sometimes he rushes into contact. Sometimes the connection between his hands and feet breaks down. But the ceiling is right there, glowing. The practical impact is simple. If New England bets on him, the Patriots can start grooming a successor to Morgan Moses without throwing the rookie straight into the fire. If they choose another path, they're betting Marcus Bryant can grow into that job and holding the spot with what's already in-house. So what's the bigger priority to you? Protecting Maye's future in the trenches or attacking another need somewhere else on the roster? Because that's the real conflict. If Miller is the pick, the offense gains structure for 2027 and maybe a usable depth piece even in 2026. Patriots Nation, I want everybody in on this one. Would you take Blake Miller at 31 or go with another position entirely? Because this decision may look quiet on the surface, but it could define the sensitive side of this offense for years. To me, the biggest takeaway from all of this is simple. New England is acting like a franchise that understands its opportunity and refuses to waste Drake Maye's rookie contract window. I'll defend that point without blinking. Trading up for the right talent, chasing explosive help for the offense, trusting Landry's recovery without ignoring the need for reinforcements, and already thinking about Morgan Moses' successor is not overkill. It's vision. It's a serious franchise protecting the present and the future at the same time. If the Patriots keep attacking this thing with calculated aggression, Patriots Nation has every reason to believe another leap is coming. And I want to leave you with this. Which move shows more guts, the bold trade or protecting the trenches? Drop a like, subscribe, and let me hear it in the comments.